Good evening, Southeast Texas. Let's take an in-depth look at the forecast for the next 7 days. I'm meteorologist Patrick Vaughn. Taking a look outside right now, it's quieter over towards southwest Louisiana as the activity's been moving from east to west across our area. And looks like active weather tonight. We get a break and then more active weather coming up as we head towards Wednesday. Very tropical air mass over the area right now. Doesn't take much to set it off and create those showers and storms. Drier weather expected Thursday and Friday. May not see anything. And then maybe scattered showers return on Sunday, and you'll see why in just a minute. First off, no tree pollen today for the allergy report. It's all about mold at moderate levels today. And taking a look at our forecast for tomorrow, looks like about a 50% coverage of showers and storms here in the Triangle. We'll go with about 90 degrees. I think it's going to be mainly morning here in the Triangle with lower chances as we wear on into the afternoon hours. Otherwise, in the Lakes area, we'll go with about 91 with a 60% coverage. That should be 40% is what I should have had in there. You'll see that in just a second, and modeling pretty much goes with that, about a 40 to 50% coverage. Little typo there. Otherwise, the activity now that is on radar has been basically moving from east to west across our area, and we've got kind of a broken band roughly around the Natchez and from around Dam B, Sam Rayburn back over into Hardin County becomes more broken, but it is definitely weakening over Jefferson and Hardin County. So not severe. The heaviest activity is over towards eastern Tyler County. Rains, moderate times in through Beaumont, back over to Vidor. Again, this is moving on off to the west. A few lightning strikes over towards Lumberton, seeing moderate rainfall. Silsbee, again, that's moving on off to the west at about 20 miles an hour. And as you can see, the activity is a lot lighter off towards your east because that's where the weather is coming from. So this may be the worst of it through tonight, especially in through Hardin County, Tyler, Jasper, and Newton counties as we hear the lightning. Heaviest activity is over towards just north of Fred along Dam B. Quite a number of lightning strikes and some locally heavy rainfall heading on off towards the west, towards Cominille, heads up towards Woodville, back over to Warren, Ivanhoe, and kind of missing out on Fred right now, but moving away from Jasper. Numerous lightning strikes there. We had a question about what causes thunder, and when you have lightning to develop, it expands the air, and that expansion then has to come back, and it claps, basically. The air claps. That expansion and then contraction. That's expansion and contraction. Superheat the air around the lightning bolt and create somewhat of a vacuum, not quite a vacuum, but it then comes back in and creates that snap, if you will. Otherwise, as far as looking at severe mode, we're on Doppler winds. Yeah, there's some winds. You could probably see some wind gusts. This is pretty far away from the radar site, so that's pretty elevated too. I would say probably some 25, 35 mile per hour winds. Nothing severe the way it looks right now, going through northern sections of Hardin, or I should say Tyler County and western Jasper County. That's about it. Maybe a little bit of hail just around Dam B, and rainfall rates have been coming down, particularly in the southern end, but still some, let's see, 2-inch rainfall rates per hour into Lumberton, and particularly up and around Dam B and in through eastern sections of Tyler County. So everything else is much weaker, and it looks like this is the heaviest activity right now along the northern Jasper and also Tyler County line, and this will further weaken southern sections from Lumberton back over to Beaumont, and we should get a break in the next hour or two. Otherwise, the activity has been all moved on off towards the west. We've been talking about this day for days as we're looking at that surge of moisture in the northwest Gulf, and that is what is causing the shower and thunderstorm activity. Remember this? Quite a bit of cloudiness and showers earlier today, and that's all spreading off towards the west and northwest at the current time and beginning to weaken with the loss of daytime heating. Now, what I've done is I've taken the colorization is the really great amount of moisture in the atmosphere. It's very moist over southeast Texas, southwest Louisiana, and the northwest Gulf. Remember that trough that moved ashore earlier today? A backside is always wetter than the front side. And look at all the drier air over in towards the eastern Gulf. Look at the lack of clouds. Look at the lack of shower and thunderstorm activity in the Gulf. It's all because of that inverted trough that we were talking about yesterday. So we've got all this to work through as this continues to move on off towards the west and head on into Texas. So this is what we've got to work with tonight and tomorrow as it continues to push on off towards the west. So that's lots of moisture in the atmosphere. So this evening, we're going to see for the next hour, maybe two, that this activity will slowly wind down and move off towards the west. We get a break. I think you're pretty much done from, we'll go with Lumberton on off towards the north overnight. Now, as we head towards tomorrow morning, prior to sunrise, we will likely see nocturnal redevelopment because of this very tropical air mass, seen it 100 times. So do not be surprised. Highway 73, Mid-County, Port Arthur, Orange, Beaumont, and Winnie that you see and hear shower and thunderstorm activity prior to daybreak. It may do a repeat of what we saw this morning in Beaumont. That's a possibility. Otherwise, this activity will go with about a 50% coverage in the triangle. That will begin and up and towards inland southeast Texas. That will lift on off towards the north, and we'll go with about a 40% coverage in the lakes area. I think modeling is not doing a real good job for Silsbee, Lumberton, and back over towards Deweyville. I think you'll see about a 50% coverage coming up tomorrow. Otherwise, highs will likely get around 90 degrees tomorrow. So again, we talk about moisture in the atmosphere. You have to have moisture in the atmosphere, not just at the surface, but at 5,000 feet, 10,000 feet to be able to produce shower and thunderstorm activity. Well, this is at 10,000 feet, very key level in the atmosphere for predicting rain. And it shows lots of green over us right now. It's way up to scale. So we've got lots to work with. Any disturbances, weak sea breeze, which is probably not going to happen because of the easterly winds, but that will be the case as we head towards maybe, say, Thursday. Lots of moisture to work with. So that's why we're seeing the rains today and tonight and tomorrow. 62% at 10,000 feet. Now, as we head towards Thursday, oh my goodness, look how much drier it goes on Thursday. Only 37%. You're going, okay, that's a big deal. Okay, yeah, it is, because that's what we use to forecast shower and thunderstorm activity. As we head towards Thursday and Friday, it will drop. Look how dry that air mass is at 10,000 feet. It's going to be hard to make shower and thunderstorm activity. But that changes on Sunday. The high kind of moves away. We get a little bit of a surge of moisture, and we go back up to 60% relative humidity at 10,000 feet, assuming we've got moisture below that 10,000 feet all the way to the surface. So the atmosphere will be conducive to producing shower and thunderstorm activity. Then that's on Sunday. Then look what happens as we head towards Monday and Tuesday. High pressure, weak high pressure, albeit, builds back into the area, and the atmosphere dries at 10,000 feet. Maybe not at the surface, but this is the key level that we look at. So it's on again, off again, on again, off again as we head through the next 7 days. You'll see that on the 7-day. All right, so that was the map view at 10,000 feet. Now we're going to look at the vertical profile, the profile from the surface up to the top of the atmosphere, your profile. So from the surface, you go up to 10,000 feet and then up to 19,000 feet. So when you got moisture from the surface, 5,000 and 10,000 feet, that means the atmosphere is quite capable of producing shower and thunderstorm activity. That's what we see coming up on Wednesday. That's why we got a good chance of shower and thunderstorm activity. Oh, but look at Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We really dry at 10,000 feet, and even on the surface at Friday and Saturday. Drops on as far as moisture. But again, look at Thursday. It dries significantly on Thursday with just low level seeing moisture. That's probably not going to be enough to produce shower and thunderstorm activity. And on Friday, same situation. Just some moisture at 5,000 feet, but it's extremely dry on Friday at 10,000 feet. So low chances of rain and thunderstorm activity. Now on Sunday, we go back up. Look at that. Moisture at the surface, and at 10,000 feet, it's kind of in between. So little disturbance. We'll go with a 30% coverage, and then we kind of get some drying on Monday and especially Tuesday. So back down at about a 20% coverage coming up Monday and Tuesday. So that's why we're doing what we're doing as far as the forecast over the next 7 days. You'll see that reflected on the 7-day forecast. In the tropics, I've said it again many times, we don't expect anything through the next 7 to 10 days in the Southwest Atlantic, the Caribbean, or the Gulf. Just nothing is expected. Now, the Hurricane Center went ahead and designated this weak area of low pressure a tropical storm and is expected to fall apart well in the northern Atlantic. Not going to be an issue for anybody except for shipping. So there's your A storm. Otherwise, in the tropics, we are watching quite a bit of Saharan dust. Notice where that weak tropical storm developed, north of the Saharan dust. We got another surge coming on in as we work on into the rest of this week, especially on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So it may be a little more hazy as we head towards, say, Saturday and Sunday across southeast Texas. But again, that's telling us that the air mass in the mid-level of the atmosphere is not conducive to producing shower and thunderstorm activity, let alone any organization or any tropical systems, as what we're seeing on ensemble modeling through the next 7 to 10 days in the western Caribbean, the Gulf, or the southwestern Atlantic off the southeast coast. So it looks pretty quiet because of that Saharan dust. Otherwise, on the Gulf tomorrow, there will be a chance of showers and storms, particularly prior to sunrise coming ashore. So we'll go with slightly choppy seas around 2 feet tomorrow in your coastal marine forecast, with a southeast wind at 10 knots, water temperature at 91. Earlier this afternoon, it's probably come down. High tides at Sabine Pass at 5:25 a.m. and 1:25 p.m. So our forecast tonight, what you see on radar is probably the worst of it right now. 70% coverage, again, for inland southeast Texas. That's Hardin, southern Jasper, southern Newton counties. 70% coverage, Tyler, and back over towards Tyler County, northern Jasper, southern Newton counties, the lakes area. For the triangle, we're going to keep a 50% coverage. Not much on radar right now. However, prior to sunrise, we expect redevelopment along the coastline that will likely spill, or at least lift to the north and affect our triangle as we head towards morning. So a 50% coverage. So we're not done in the triangle, but we will likely get a break. Everybody's going to get a break after about, say, 8:30, 9 o'clock, from what I can tell, with no redevelopment expected in inland southeast Texas or the lakes area. That's not the case in the triangle. We get a break and then redevelopment towards daybreak. Otherwise, we will go with about a 40, remember the 40% coverage in the lakes, and about a 50% coverage inland southeast Texas, and also the triangle. High temperatures ahead of the rain and thunderstorm activity under partly sunny skies should be in the upper 80s to lower 90s. Light winds, southeast winds at 2 to 7 miles an hour. Taking a look at your weather impact 7-day forecast, again, we'll go with that 50% coverage coming up on Wednesday. Then remember the dry air. Thursday and Friday may not see anything under partly cloudy skies, highs back into the mid or lower 90s. Saturday, 10 to 20% coverage. Sunday, that surge comes back on in, and again, we'll go with about a 30% coverage. And then remember, we start drying out as we head towards Monday and Tuesday of next week, with the drier air mass returning to the area, so lower rain chances. Let me get back to radar before I have to go, give you a last look at that. And again, we're not expecting severe weather. In fact, it looks like things may be winding down a bit and weakening. So let's see, yeah, falling apart here in the triangle, inland southeast Texas. Lakes area, that's the heaviest